All right, Shalom. We're the Hebrew Israelites. We come week in, week
Go.
out, prophesy the downfall of this wicked kingdom known as Babylon in the scriptures. And before we get started, we just want to give all praises, glory, and honor due unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well. Right? And peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect. Right? Can you get Exodus chapter 10, verse 12? Right? Because there's a lot of pandemics, there's a lot of plagues and scourges the Lord is sending out. Especially in the beginning of this year, January, which just came to a close. Right? Serious times. Right?
This is Exodus chapter 10, verse 12. And the Lord Yahweh said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, that they may come up upon the land of Egypt and eat every herb of the land, even all that the hail hath left.
That's right, and right now that's talking about ancient Egypt, about what actually took place, because that's the actual history. But we're living in spiritual Egypt right now, which is Babylon. Okay, you can go and read that in the book of Revelation. It tells you it's spiritually called Sodom, spiritually called Babylon, spiritually called Egypt, right? So this is the exact same thing is going to take place, man, right over here. And right now, what you see in Africa, especially in the nations that are within Africa, like what's it called, Somalia, Eritrea, right now you're seeing locusts, attack. And they're saying it's the worst locust attack within a decade, right?
And it says, verse 13, and Moses stretched forth his rod over the land of Egypt, and the Lord Yahweh brought an east wind upon the land all that day.
That's right, and that's not the power of the Lord. That's not the power of Moses. Okay, that's the power of the Lord. Okay, he just used Moses as a conduit, okay, to do his bidding on the earth, right? And that's a representation of us, because that's what a prophet does. They come out and we tell you the woes of the world, right? Jeremiah 28:8. And when we talk about it, it's going to actually manifest. But we're really just coming in the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. Okay?
And it says, and the Lord Yahweh brought an east wind upon the land all that day and all that night, and when it was morning, the east wind brought the locusts.
That's right, and that's what you see happening. That's why they're brought over there. Okay, and they're saying that the locust swarm is as the size of Moscow, right? And Moscow is the capital of Russia. So that's a megacity. It's the size of a megacity, right? And I believe it's 2,511 kilometers in its in width and diameter or whatever, right? Technical term, that's the measurement. So that's really huge. Okay, so that's covering that place.
And it says, verse 14, and the locusts went up over all the land of Egypt and rested in all the coast of Egypt. Very grievous were they before them that were no such locusts as they, neither after them shall be such.
And that's what's taking place right now, because they're saying that it's the worst of the whole decade that came, right? So they're very grievous, so they're ferocious, they're eating up crops, and that's a threat to food security. And if you go into the history, we taught the Egyptians about food security, about grain reserves, about all that stuff to our forefather Joseph, right? So really, who really built up Egypt who really built up Egypt? It's really through the Lord using us. And he's going to take it down the same way, right?
It says, verse 15, for they covered the face of the whole earth, so that the land was darkened, and they did eat every herb of the land, and all the fruits of the trees were the hail which the hail had left, and there remained not any green thing in the trees.
And that can cause a pandemic, man. Food shortages, that can cause turmoil for a state, man. that can cause riots, that can cause people to overthrow the Pharaoh, right? And that's what they're saying. They didn't anticipate of how great that locust swarm was going to really affect that whole region of Africa, man, right? And that's why when we read on, Pharaoh, he's going to complain about it, and he's going to ask the prophets. We keep reading.
And it says, and there remained not any green thing in the trees or in the herbs of the field through all the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron in haste and said, I have sinned against the Lord Yahweh your power.
So this is a Pharaoh, this is a ruler now. He's calling the prophets in haste, right? So now he wants answers. And that's what these politicians, these leaders of the world, and that day when the Lord really flexes his power and he destroys this place, he totally brings it down to the brink of nothing. That's when you're going to call upon the prophets. And this is the pattern that we see throughout the scriptures. Every age, you see the rulers, they come back to the grassroots, which is really the script of the Lord. Right? Keep going.
And it says, then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron in haste and said, I have sinned against the Lord your power, Lord Yahweh your power, and against you.
So now he's making a confession to the Lord. So now the Lord humbled him. So now he has to acknowledge of how great the Lord is, man. And this is a Pharaoh. This is a Pharaoh that had these people in subjection. Okay, the Lord's people in subjection. He thought he can do whatever he wants.
And it says, then Pharaoh, verse 17, now therefore forgive, I pray thee, my sins only this once, and entreat the Lord Yahweh your power,
There's a climax in the
that
eye,
he
man.
may take away from me this death only.
And guess what? The Lord can't forgive him of the sins that he did. He's a heathen. Right? Even though he transgressed, that only applies to the people on the sign. And that's why when you read on, out of our Exodus of Egypt, the Pharaoh got destroyed. His whole army, he got humiliated. And Egypt was never the same since. And that's going to be Babylon and the state of you people, man. Donald Trump, Justin Trudeau, the Rothschilds, everything you're going to lose, and you're going to look stupid in that day.
This is the man? This is he? That made somebody get that. Isaiah.
Sorry.
So this is Ecclesiastes 12 and 5. Also, when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fears shall be in the way. So the one that are the one who's at high is Yahweh Shai, right? And we're telling people on the fear of the Lord. We're teaching you how to fear the Lord, man, because people of the day don't fear the Lord. All right. And the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshoppers shall be a burden. So that's what the brother's talking about, the locust being over there in the Middle East. Okay, because the burden to them now is the farming, husbandry, right? Because the grasshopper, the locust, is eating their crops, right? And desire shall fail, because man goeth to his long home, and the mourners go about in the streets. And that's right, but the nation will be in mourning, right? Because the pestilence, everything that's going on right now, right? Everybody's talking about, you hear about the virus, right? And blaming and everything, blaming on the Wuhan, China, when it's the Most High doing this thing, man. See, everyone gives credence to everybody but the Most High, right? Exactly. As if anything can be done without the Most High okaying it and sanctioning it, man, right? But we, the men of the Lord, we know what's going on, so we praise Yahweh Shem Yahshai, man, and that's what we get praised for. That's what like, on something like on a carnal tip, you think like, you know, oh yeah, it's so and so and this that, but we know at the end of it, it's the Most High doing this thing, man, and this is the end of the time, right? So that's what we're watching for, all right?
This is Isaiah 14, and I'll start at 10. And it says, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us?
And who is talking here? That's the heathen nations. And they're talking down to the so-called white man. And you see how the roles have reversed, because this Edomite, he was talking down on all these other nations, including us, saying that we'll never be anything, we're gonna always be at the bottom, we're gonna have you in subjection. But now, guess what? These other nations, they have the nuclear bomb, nuclear capabilities. And guess what? Israel, they're coming back to their nationality, and they have the Lord now, the elect.
Say the curses are being reversed. We're slowly coming out of our sentence, our judgment, and Most High deals with balance. So what we're going through as a nation is going to happen to the other nations.